All righty then. We are going to wait to the 8-second mark so that we know that both YouTube and LinkedIn are doing it. And there we are. Good afternoon. My name is Zev Nadler, and I'm joined by AJ, who hopefully everybody here knows. He is affectionately known as the Reverend of TAC. And we're going to hear some great things from him today after we go through the UAS tools installation, which AJ is going to help us with. AJ, say hello.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on, Zev. Happy to help everybody through getting UAS tool up and running.
Excellent. And I want to thank you for helping me with that document that I'm going to be sharing with the Droneresponders TAC working group, which is a one-page bulleted reason sheet of why you want to go to TAC. Certainly, if you want to send drone feeds anywhere, that's really the best. I'm working with an agency right now who's using another piece of software that costs a metric boatload of money, and they can do the same thing with TAC a lot easier. It's just getting past that, well, we made the procurement, we made that decision, how do we look now? But I think we'll get past that. So thank you very much, AJ, for helping me with that document.
Hey, we all bought VCRs at some point. They have to go away.
I love that. We got beta and VHS just for the record. Yeah.
For you younger kids, you had DVD players at one point, and we don't have those anymore either.
Well, I had a Walkman with a cassette tape, and I had a Commodore 64. So there's that. Okay. Well, what I'd like to do first is kind of add to the stage a picture of what I'm going to be working with today. So that is a DJI Mini 3 with the, I think, R2 and I have to look at the name of the controller again, unless you know it by heart.
The RCN2 controller.
It is
should be RCN2 or the RCN1. I'm not sure which one you have. They both look exactly the same.
Yes, it's the RCN2. Great little controller. And I'm using an S22 Samsung, which I'm going to bring up on the screen in a moment. But yeah, so with that, let me head that back to the stage, get rid of this picture, and then move this over. So I'm using something called AirDroid, which remotely sends everything I see on this little device there. So AJ is going to walk me through it as if I'm a complete idiot, and he wouldn't be too far off. So let's do it. Let's get started, AJ. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. Anybody out there can leave comments, questions. We'd love to see you. Let us know where you're calling from, who you are, or where you're viewing from, who you are. And if you have any questions as we go through this, that would be great. And if you did get notification of this live stream, you may very well have your drone and your EUD and your controller ready to do this. So hopefully you'll be able to follow along. All right, AJ, where do I go?
All right, so let's just set just kind of baseline, right? So you're going to need a UAS that has the option to have a communication protocol that ATAC UAS tool can use. So if you're using Mavlink, you're winning right off the bat. Outside of that, on different commercial drones, like let's say DJI, for example, they have an SDK that UAS tool can talk through to talk to the drone. So either the drone has an SDK that UAS tool has that kind of library built for, or using an open protocol like Mavlink, you're in business. If you don't have that, this is not going to work. So we're using, a DJI Mini 3 here that has the SDK. So this isn't just for DJI, this is for a number of drones. Autel is another example of a company that has an SDK. Again, Mavlink really is kind of like the Rosetta Stone. Anything that's using Mavlink open protocol, this will work with too.
Could you give us some manufacturers that are using Mavlink and which you or others have been successful?
I believe Vantage is using Mavlink. It's pretty common protocol, but not everybody uses it. So for the UAS manufacturers or IDEA people out there listening, Mavlink would be great. It really makes it really easy for third-party integrations.
I know Firestorm has it. I know that, what's the name of that company? out there in Austin. They have the Havoc AI, I think.
Dark Hive will be using Mavlink, I believe. Yeah.
Dark Hive, that was it. And then another one would be, Vantage Robotics. We had Pony on, and he talked about that. So great. Okay, good.
All right. So, and then the next part is your GCS, so your ground control station or solution. So either you're using right here what we call like a dumb controller, which is just going to be, if you took that phone away, basically, it looks like this. You've just got a controller. What you're seeing there is just this pop-up cradle that the phone would sit in, and then through USB connection into this. So, or you may have a solution that is built in. So that built-in solution where it looks like this right here, but with an integrated controller, has got to be running Android. All right, so that's how UAS tool. It's got to be running Android. So, the more sophisticated DJI controllers like the RC Pro and the RC Plus can use are built on Android, and you can use the UAS tool. Some of the lower tier ones, and I don't know all of them because DJI has a lot of them. They're not working, and a lot of it has to do with how they've locked in Android and how you can sideload the APK. Another thing to look at too, if you're using an EUD like this, using a dumb controller, if you will, and you're bringing an EUD, is make sure it has enough resources. So I would say, minimum of 6 gigs of RAM to run UAS tool and to do all the other mapping functions in ATAC. So if you bring in a lower tier tablet or a lower tier phone and it's not working, it's typically not a UAS tool issue. It's just the device doesn't have enough resources.
So did you say 60 gigawatts of memory or of storage?
Of memory. So 6 gigs of memory, I would say, would be a good foundation for UAS tool. Not necessarily ATAC, but running UAS tool in ATAC. So again, you've got 2 different ways to go here. This kind of dumb controller, if you will, and pairing a tablet or phone with it, or an integrated that's got the screen, everything with it from an OEM. Again, that has to be running Android for this to work. All right. So now we have to get, first off, we got to get ATAC onto the controller. So
all right, we're going to take a quick break just to bring up 3 things here. Brooks Davis, yes, long time no see, man. I think last time was maybe 2 years ago at a Droneresponders conference in Williamsburg. And Michael Leckleiter just wrote that ASCL is Mavlink as well. So thank you for that, Mike. And then we have a good day from Australia. Hey, man, good to see you. All right. I also, if I didn't mention it, I want to mention it again, that this is being brought to you by Droneresponders. And you can get on droneresponders.org for free, get a free membership, and then request entree to the TAC working group, which is like a 5-question form, and then just a comment at the end to leave yourself public. And then you'll have access to all the groovy stuff that we're going to be putting in. As a matter of fact, today I got clearance to put some Texas DPS and DW or TWDP documents into the repository as well that will help you. So, okay, sorry about that. All right, let's go. AJ.
All right, so we got to get ATAC. So ATAC is the core application we have to get on to the controller or onto your EUD. So you can get that from tac.gov or get it from the Play Store. Either will work.
The reason I prefer tac.gov is because I really have everything there.
It's great. Yeah, tac.gov is great. But for folks that don't have an account, this is on the Play Store as well. So Zeb, I hope you are going to hide your password as you share this onto your
yes, I'm actually going to
website.
Yeah, I'm going to bounce that off when it's time to do that. So me take this off for un momento, por favor.
It's nice that Mike's on here. So for those who don't know Mike Lecklider, he really is kind of at knows ATAC UAS tool very well. He's taught me everything I know about it. I'm glad he's on here. Can call out when I make a mistake.
I know he's your partner in crime as well. So
yep, we work together at Coronafire as well. So
this is going to take me a few moments to get the password in. I'm using NordPass, and it's kind of a big one, and I haven't put it on here yet. So
and while you're doing that, I can talk a little bit about getting, and I do have a video on this on the TAC Syndicate, but there's a variety of ways to get in, especially when you're using if you're not using a traditional, a phone or a tablet, is now you got to get that onto your OEM GCS. So, using a thumb drive or other applications that can browse the controller's, file structure and this drag and drop, the software, because you're going to have to get the APK onto that OEM controller. So just, there's a couple different ways to do it. And again, I covered in that TAC Syndicate video. And if you've never done that before, if you've never you worked with APKs before, like the actual software application for Android, you kind of got to get used to that. Many of us are used to going to, the App Store or Play Store and downloading the software. But in this scenario, when you're using, a third-party GCS, you got to get the APK on there, and that's where getting it from tac.gov will matter, unless your GCS can browse the Play Store.
All right. It seems like I have two IDs for tac.gov, and I'm just trying to get the right one to match that password. So it'll just be another moment.
One of those software solutions that I like is, at least on my Mac, when I'm going to go into a DJI controller, is OpenMTP. So I do cover that in the video I have. Allows you to just plug in your DJI GCS right into your Mac, and then just browse the two files and just drag stuff over.
You might want to spend a little time on what are the files we're going to be downloading and where they're from. And then hopefully by the time you're done with that, you'll be able to do it.
All right, so we got to get ATAC on the controller. So it'd be phone, tablet, or the OEM controller. So we covered that. And then we also, so once that's on and you get ATAC and we get it fired up, making sure everything's loaded, the next thing you're going to need is the UAS tool plugin, also available on the Play Store or from tac.gov. And you've got those, that the plugin is what's, plugs into ATAC. If you're not familiar with ATAC, it's got a base code, base application. It does have plugin architecture. It allows us to build in a lot of other capabilities, and UAS tool being one of them. Next is you're going to need digital terrain elevation data. And you can get that a number of places. You can build your own DTED files from Earth Explorer from the USGS, which I do cover in my video, or you can go to Ralph's site. I can't remember. I can bring it up. Is it the CivTac? I'm trying to remember Ralph's site. It's on my website. Yeah, you can go to civtac.org and then get, he's got a link in there that takes you to DTED level 2, and then you can browse your area. So these files can be pretty big. So like California's, I think, just under a gig. So I know the device storage is a lot better than it used to be, but you can just do your region. And I think Ralph has most of the states, or that for some of these states that don't have a lot of topography relief, the files aren't as big. So Kansas and Texas aren't as big as California. The more elevation change you have, the more data that's there. So the files are a little bit bigger. And you're going to get those. They'll be in a zip format. You don't need to unzip them. You get them on the device. And once we get ATAC up and running, we're going to show you how to import that. So it's really three things. It's ATAC, the UAS tool plugin, and digital terrain elevation data. All right, you're up and running.
All right, here we go. So where do I go from here?
We're going to go to the ATAC plugins.
Before ATAC Civ, because I deleted ATAC off the server.
Oh, yes, that's right. We're going to start ATAC Civ. Go to ATAC Civ.
Okay.
And now you're going to go down here and you can click on versions there. 5.5.1 is the newest. You definitely do not need it. They actually have a little disclaimer there that you know, that's the latest. I would start at 5.5.0 is where I would start.
Okay. That'll refresh our file choices.
And so you can do the light version, which is the same thing that's on the Play Store. It doesn't add a lot of extra companion apps, or you can do the full version. It's really up to you.
I'm going to choose the full.
None of those, it really doesn't make a difference for using UAS tool.
Okay. All right. And we don't want to open that yet until we bring everything.
You can open it. Let's just make sure. Let's make sure it's working.
All right. There we go. We're going to launch it.
And you can hit open and let's make sure everything works.
All right.
And you do have to accept this end user license acceptance. So you can go through all these, you hit agree. I understand.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
And do we like precision, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And hit allow. So it's going to ask you, and this is kind of the posture for both iOS and Android now. They make these there's really, you have to opt into all this stuff from a security perspective. They want the end user to have a full understanding of everything that is happening in this application.
This is an interesting one that came up. I hadn't seen that before. In order to render GPS usage. So this is an override or an OK?
You need to do it. Let's see. Allow ATAC to access the device. Yep. Hit OK.
Okay.
And then scroll down. Allow all the time.
Yeah. That's a real key because you don't want to have to know that your unit is on or off.
And then you can just hit the back arrow there.
All file access.
Yep. And just toggle that to the right.
Okay. Then go back.
Back button again.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Now ATAC's going to load up. And you can just hit done right here.
Right.
And hit OK.
Disabling it.
All right, so now you should get the globe. You get a fun little call sign that gets auto-assigned to you. You are Gomer.
Mm-hmm. I like being Gomer. All right, how do I get a proper map? Can I at this point, or we need to download the maps as well?
No, you have a map in here that's usable. Hit the map icon up top.
Okay.
Go to mobile imagery, and you can choose, you know, some of these maps you have in here are already loaded because it didn't nuke your ATAC folder. So Google Hybrid does not come with it, but you can get it off of maps.tacserver.us. I do have that zip file data package that you can import. All right, so now we need to go and get the plugin. So let's go back to tac.gov.
And that was right here. Okay.
And now you can scroll to the top and we go to plugins.
I'm going to flip it portrait again.
There you go.
All right. Plugins are back one, right? Towards home?
You can hit I think the hamburger menu at the top.
Oh, okay.
I think it'll give you a list
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. And you can go to all plugins if you want.
Okay. No.
It logged you out.
I guess. And that password, I'm going to have to copy and paste it next time. All right. Time again to do a little talking because it's going to take me about a minute.
For the guys, I never do this for my phone. So I typically will do this from a laptop. I will download the APKs and throw them up on like a Google Drive or a OneDrive, and then browse to that location and download on my phone. It's just a lot easier than doing this, over a phone. And now Zeph's gone, and now I'm left on his podcast by myself.
No, here we are. Sorry.
Talk about whatever.
I was going to ask you if you could talk a little bit about how you came up in the fire service.
Yeah. So, man, 1992. Yes, that was a long time ago. Senior high school, went to a real career fair and met some folks that worked for California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection who said, hey, you can start as a volunteer with the county fire department, who was integrated with what's called CDF back then, now better known as Cal Fire. So started there. We had a joint station, the one I was volunteered at outside of my town with the Forest Service, and kind of got exposed to the Forest Service. And the next season, I started working with the Forest Service in '94. Went on an engine for a couple months, and then got the chance to get on a hot shot crew, and then that's where I spent the next 5 seasons. So always enamored with radios, and I remember we got our first GPS. I was just that dork on the crew, and yeah, started Forest Service and on hot shot crews and traveling most of the Western United States fighting fire, and using paper maps. And I think that's one of the things I love most about, or why I love TAC so much, is I remember what it's like doing this without the technology. Technology really doesn't intersect my career like this till about midway through, where we start having, computers and fire engines, and mobile OS becomes more mature. And so, yeah, when TAC falls across my lap in 2018, I get hooked very quick, and then show it to Mike Lecklider, who gets equally hooked. And that's kind of where my fire service started. But I left federal government, went to work for Cal Fire for 5 years. I went to paramedic school within there, and then been at City of Corona for the last 20.
That's a good story. I remember when I first met you, and I think I had you and Dave Zader. You were the first ones on my All Things TAC show. And we talked about, what really drove you guys, and it was your hotshot relationship. And then the Granite Mountain 19 out of the 20 that perished in the Yarnell fire, which was kind of like an hour away from my home at the time. We were all riveted listening to what was going on. But yeah, that had to be a motivating factor for sure, which again is why you always want your location on, I would think. So. Yeah.
Yep. And this doesn't replace poor decision making, but when you make a poor decision, this might be the thing that saves your bacon. All right, so we're back on TAC.gov. All right, you can search at the top for UAS. So it does have an option, but you can browse through all of them. But I see UAS tool there. I think you were.
Click on that.
And then you want to make sure you're grabbing the UAS tool that matches your version. There has been some improvements in TAC, where like a new version comes out and the version mismatch is not as big a deal anymore, but always a good tool, good thing. So you are not going to use the DIU version because that will not work with DJI. You're just going to do the one at the very top.
All right, so the DIU Blue UAS tool, I had some time with the DIU with a couple different NDAA manufacturers here in the US. So I guess it's in CivTech because you can buy an NDAA DIU Blue drone and use it with UAS tools if it's got Mavlink. So that's why it's in the civilian version and not just the military, even though it's DIU. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They just left out the DJI version. All right, there you go. You download the plugin, and then once it's downloaded, we'll click on it to install it.
Okie doke.
All right. So did you delete, when you wiped your device and removed it, did you delete the old UAS tool?
I believe I did, but if I didn't, let's
open up ATAC right now and see what kind of
havoc wreaked what we have in plugins.
All right. So once you start ATAC and you install a plugin, it should show up on your plugins list here. So can you expand that to the left a little bit? Because I feel like the right side of your screen on the phone for AirDroid is off there a little bit. There you go.
There we go. Okay, thank you.
All right, and I don't see UAS tool on there. So let's go to back to your phone. And you can go, first thing you do is hit that little refresh, hit the little blue arrows.
Sorry, UAS tool is on it.
Oh, it's down low. Got it. So hit loaded. So click
it's as if we would have done it. If we would have done a fresh install, what are some of the questions it would have asked? Do you agree
if you don't see it in the list, make sure you hit that little concentric blue circles to refresh the list. Let's make that's a good place to start.
Okay.
Or it could look like this and not loaded. So I know some of those errors you saw before were probably revolved around just because you wiped ATAC doesn't mean that UAS tool is off the device. That other app is still sitting there. So if you really want to do a full refresh to mimic this, you would go into your app list and remove UAS tool and remove ATAC. So
would you like me to do that? Do you think that's a good?
No, it's all good. It's all good. All right, so you've got it loaded. So now let's go back. All right, so now it's saying, hey, you're missing this these other applications. So this is the other application that the SDK talks through. So we were going to, since you are on a Mini 3, it uses the DJI 5. So click on that.
Right, and just to make sure I understand, this is what gives you kind of like the UI that you would normally see on your controller if you weren't doing UAS tools and you were flying with the native software. This is the software that takes over for the DJI models that work with 5, and that's your UI on your EUD?
It's not the UI perspective. It's just it's talking through their SDK. Okay. So this is the means. So that has to, and it looks like it wants you to go to the Play Store to get it.
Okay.
I thought it used to ship with it, but all right. And just hit install.
That looks good. Okay.
It is hard to keep up with all the changes.
Yes, definitely. You'll get hit blindsided from time to time.
Yeah, I thought it used to get shipped with UAS tool, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it's always been like this. All right, you can hit open.
Okay, I want to make sure we want to open that. And again, while using this app, we want to be precise. Okay. And we wanted to record video. And yes, manage phone calls as well. Okay, this is a very important screen right here.
All right, so it's registration success is a good thing. It's talking to UAS tool, and the local data mode makes it so it's DJI isn't phoning home. So while you're using this app, so it's not talking to DJI server. So you've got. All right, so at this point, some things to look at down below where it says motors on false. So it's telling you right now that that says flying false, that it's not flying and the motors aren't on. You can hit return to UAS tool at this point and or wait for Android to install in this. You should have it. All right. So next thing we need to do is we're going to, all right, Mike says if you don't have Play Store access to ATAC Go, APK is separately available on tac.gov. That's good info. So yeah, so if you're using an Android or the DJI, say RC Plus, RC Pro, that doesn't have Play Store access or anything that doesn't, you're gonna that can be grabbed from
tac.gov.
tac.gov. All right, so now we need to get DTED data. So you're in Pennsylvania, so let's just go to the CivTac.
We don't want to do the whole U.S. because it isn't that. I mean, I did it a couple times and it seemed okay. What do you think? You think we should have?
If you want to download the whole U.S., go for it. I don't know how many gigs it is.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. All right, where do I find that? Go back.
Civtac.org is a good place to grab it.
Okay.
I have a lot of the states. I made one for Hawaii that wasn't on there. I have it on my website too, or on my Google Drive. But let's go to civtac.org.
Okay.
And then I can't remember on the main page if he's got DTED. Oh, there he goes. He's got DTED for most of the world. So
now it's DTED, but when we install it, you're going to see SRTM, which I think stood for the shuttle. When the shuttle went up there and took all the pictures from space, that's where it's coming from. It was some kind of shuttle mission, right?
Let's see.
No. All right, so we're going to download it. I'm pretty sure that's what I thought I saw. All right, so we're going to download SRTM for TAC.
I'm on the website right now too. I haven't been on there a bit. So let's see here.
Great.
Are you?
No, I'm just good on downloading. I'm trying to figure out how to actually start the download.
So I used to just go to his website and the search and just put DTED.
All right, let's
search
try that. All right.
And then there was something called files, and you would hit more there.
Okay. Am I going in the right direction here?
Let's see.
I don't think so. Let me get to the top.
All right.
Close.
Or just search files. That'll work. Just take that DTED off there and just hit files.
Okay.
Search and then scroll down. All right, right there. Yeah. Downward, get more.
All right, we're there. Brilliant. Oh, Shuttle Radar Terrain Measurements Program. That's why it's SRTM.
All right. So that's where you saw that United States whole country.
So that's,
or you can go by states. It's up to you.
All right.
And this is like a OneDrive. Yeah.
Okay. OneDrive Live.
And they said he's also got it broken up by states. I'm going to go look at it right now. I thought, I'm curious if he had Hawaii on there. I can get it to Ralph and he can put it on there.
Okay, I believe we're downloading it, but it might be, oh, there we go. Download file again. No. All right, so we have it.
All right, so now let's go back to ATAC.
Oh, to ATAC, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And we're going to hit the hamburger menu upper right. And we're going to we're going to scroll down to import. And hit local SD. And we're going to go to our downloads folder. Oh, so it's still not there yet. It says pending. It hasn't finished.
Because it's a big one. You think it's like more than like 10 gig or so? If you think
I don't know how big it is. But here, I can download the whole thing here since I've got much price. Let's see how long it takes.
All right. And I like that this is happening because we're showing some of the stops, make sure your password isn't a Nord password that's like 83 characters and has every symbol you can think of. Make it your dog's name or something. We won't know what that is. And then also choosing which file to download for DTED. I don't remember.
Mine's still downloading. So, but you can, if you want to show them the difference.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the United States one and download that one and see what happens.
And you can see all the different states here. So you don't have to. I noticed Hawaii wasn't on there, so I built the Hawaii one. I need to get them too, but it's on my maps.taxserver.us as well.
Now, I should be able to kill the other one, but I don't really want to because this one, 1 hour left. The other one has 2 minutes left.
Oh, to give it a sec. It'll update pretty quick.
Okay. Good deal.
But you can see that, the Northeast region of those 4 or 5 states is only 720 megabytes. And the United States is 8 gigs.
Right. It says only one left, so we can wait on that.
Yeah.
While that's happening, I have another question to ask you about you. So sorry, I'm exposing you and making you vulnerable here, but hopefully it's all good. What are some of the novel ConOps that you introduced, you and Mike, into Corona Fire? I know there's something about every engine has a drone and how the firefighters are trained to use them. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So when Mike started our UAS program back in 19 or 18, it was 18, about the same time we kind of get TAC going. We put everybody as a Part 107 pilot. That was when we had like 6 or 7 pilots, and we bought 7 drones. And so we had a mix. These were Mavic 2 enterprises. We had some that were EO, some were IR, and it's just dependent. And those pilots would put those on the fire engines when they worked that day, and they would take them off when they got off. And so we didn't have this round the clock coverage. Fast forward last year, our UASs are up for replacement. The Mavic 3 Enterprise is what we went with, and now we have EO IR capabilities in all the drones. And instead of we have 7 fire engines. Instead of doing that same model, we decided let's put the fire engine or the drones on every fire engine, and then get a certificate of waiver or a CO at the time. Now we're going to be doing a waiver, but we came up with our own parameters. We filed that, Mike did with the FAA, to say we want to train our own pilots, and these are our kind of our boundaries of when we can fly, and within this region, within the city. And the FAA was like, cool. So we train our own pilots, and part of that was getting everybody familiar with just basic, rules. Like they have to have a visual observer. Right now, our folks can't fly at night. They're going to get there just to get them started. And part of that.
Sorry, did you have them start with the Part 107 and then introduce your own training, or the other way around?
Our own training. So we still have, like, I'm a 107 pilot. We still have 107 pilots, but the COA pilots, or CAL pilots, which is what I like CAL better when we move your certificate, but CAL pilots. Part of us, like, really getting this to leadership too, was like, hey, we're going to start with them just flying during the day. We have collision avoidance that's optical, which does not work at night. And that was part of that, like that kind of crawl, walk, run approach. Really, and TAC, having them fly an ATAC was really helpful too, because now they feel much more part of the mission. So isn't this like, over the radio, I need you to fly over here, and where is here? I need you to like give me Overwatch over the hill from me. Well, where are you? Now with them flying in TAC, everybody is talking about the same thing. And what I also like about UAS tool, because change is inevitable, when we move to our next platform in say 4 years, it's probably feasible to say 5 to 6 years on our current UASs. And maybe DJI isn't available, or maybe we switch platforms because someone else has a better capability. With UAS tool, you do not have to retrain your pilot forces on a full new GCS. Well, where is altitude, and where is above ground level, and where is this? You move to a new platform, you might have enhanced capabilities because that aircraft can do new things, but the layout is the same. So from that training perspective of getting pilots comfortable with flying this new airframe, boom, man, you run UAS tool, they have that same look and feel, they're off and running. That's what I really, really like about it. Or let's say we bring in a specialized airframe, a new one in, everything has that same sort of look and feel where everything's at.
So you started with TAC, and were you using iTAC in the beginning before you had to use plugins?
We've never supported iTAC.
Okay, so you went straight to ATAC, and you were using that for, COP, but also cursor and target to know your people. What assets were you tracking at that point?
At the beginning, we just started with, the phone, and it was really a command and control look down. It was, hey, this is how you turn ATAC on, just have the phone on you, as much more at the beginning meant from the battalion chiefs tracking where dismounted folks were at. And then instead of building this in a vacuum and me saying we're going to do this, we taught like a 2-hour course on what I thought, showed off the capabilities, what I thought our captains were, it's much more a captain's tool, are capable of doing. And at the end of that 2-hour course, they said, all right, I see the utility here, and yes, we can do this. And now it's part of our promotional exam for captain. So because it is much more of a captain's tool as the phone, the UAS part has really exposed more of our that firefighter rank and engineer rank into using TAC, which is great, because you really need to know how to use ATAC to be able to fly in UAS tool. And so right. It's by force, it's kind of forcing them. Now anyone that's on that promotional list or going up to captain is having to learn ATAC, because there's this expectation that I know how to do this. But what's really great is that UAS tool has kind of opened the aperture up for more people to, because I get it, you're a firefighter and you're like, I'm on the hose or whatever, I don't really have a lot of use for TAC. Yes, it's tracking me or tracking our crew. It's much more that kind of captain's tool. So the UAS has been great in that aspect.
Was the UAS tool the first video feed you had, or did you try any other video feeds prior?
It's been our first kind of shared video. We have used the DJI native one for a couple things, but yeah, this was our first video sharing.
Okay, great. Any questions from viewers? Just put them in. Any comments? All right.
Mike, if I'm speaking out of turn here, I got something backwards, please feel free to join the chat and keep correcting me or whatever.
All right. So I'm going to choose United States SRTM if you're okay with that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So yeah, it's still showing your downloads. So we don't need to click on that. We don't need to open that or unzip it. We need to go back into ATAC.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so guys, that's a zip file. You do not need to unzip it. We want to go back in. We want to go back to that hamburger menu, upper right, and get into import and hit local SD and go to downloads. And you can, there it is, that 8.6 gigs. And hit OK. And I like, you can, so this kind of import strategy is like, hey, you can leave it where it's at and ATAC knows to look there. You can copy it or you can move it. It's really up to you. I just always put move it into the ATAC folder. All right, so right now in the upper menu there, if you pull down, you'll see it's starting to. It's got that little concentric circle there. It's importing all these DTED files in. Now it's going to take a while to cover to bring all this stuff in, but a good way to see if you've got DTED2 loaded over your area is to use the Red X tool that comes shipped with ATAC. It's one of the core tools. So Zeb, if you want to turn on Red X, it's in the upper, it's got that X. And then if you just click anywhere in the map, that'll let you know what kind of elevation data you have.
You know, I haven't used this and I'm getting yellow.
Yeah, just click on it, turned it on. Now click anywhere on the map.
Got it. Oh, there's the red X. Okay. I was wondering why this yellow X wasn't turning into a red one. Okay.
Another area you can see of where you have data is to go into, I believe it's in your map controls. So if you, here, I'm going to fire up ATAC in front of, on my phone right here.
Okay.
Because I don't use this all the time, but you can go to your overlay manager. And let's see here. I'm scrolling down here. And let's see, go to your elevation manager.
Okay, so in overlay or in elevation? Sorry.
You want to go overlay manager up top?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So go up top to your 3 stacks of paper.
Right. Okay, sorry.
And scroll down to elevation manager.
Okay.
And you can click off TAC terrain and TAC bathy there. Turn the eyeball off.
Okay. Oh, you want to turn those off?
Turn those off, yeah. So TAC terrain is what gets shipped with it. And now click the outline for DTED.
Okay.
And then kind of zoom out.
Wow.
Zoom the other way. Zoom out. So show the whole United States.
Oh, zoom out. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
And that is showing, so as the DTED files start to upload, you will start to see those turn colors. And I'm going to turn on, so if you click on, see how there's a loading up real quick. So now if you take Red X again,
okay,
the Red X tool, and click on in one of those orange ones.
All right, let's go to Alabama. All right.
And see where it says DTED2.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now you can always know where your kind of like your coverage is. I believe the yellow is just the stuff that gets shipped from TAC.gov, and the stuff that's streaming in, which is DTED level 0, and then 2 is the orange. So as this uploads, you'll keep seeing that ad. So, all right, but you've got DTED level 2 area over your marker right now, so you're good to go. So you can turn off Red X.
Okay.
And now we're going to get UAS tool going. All right, so what we need to do is turn on, let's get your phone. Let's turn on your controller.
Oh, we're ready for that. All right.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
All righty.
We're going to take your controller, turn it on, and then we're going to put a USB-C cable from the controller into your phone and get it all mounted up.
Yeah, I got the one you told me
And I
to.
can kind of show people here on my end. I'm just going to take in a little cable here, taking my phone, and now I'm putting the cable in here. And that's that. And what you do get you'll get a message here to pair it to the controller.
Cable. Give me one moment. I'm going to grab a different cable because the one I have is not fitting in the bottom. And you told me to go get.
I did tell you. You did listen.
I know you told me to go get that other cable, and I did. But I believe.
So, and I can kind of talk. So, guys. So one of the things, right, is whatever case you have, making sure that your cable arm is deep enough. I like this. It's from Sunguy, Sunguy, but it's deep enough to get in there. And the one I have is, at least for this DJI controller, it's straight on one side and then a 90 on the other, and that seems to work well with this controller. Everything fits, and I'm running an Note 20 here, and everything's pretty clean, super small.
Screen, I received a question as to whether I want AVGO to start, but it wasn't showing up on here. I might have to redo, not tech.gov, thank God.
No.
I might have to, yeah, because it doesn't seem to be showing.
Your AirDroid?
Yeah, let me see if I have to redo that. One moment.
Technology.
You know, I've been doing audio visual since 1982, and it's still wildly crazy. It just doesn't work in 2025. So whoever fixes that is going to make a lot of money. All right, AirDroid cast.
I use Visor a lot, but yeah, AirDroid is very popular.
It came up on my computer. And start casting again. All right, just to let you know, I also plugged in the cable from the remote to my EUD, and I am getting a blinking green light.
What was that?
I'm getting a blinking green light on my controller.
Yeah.
The four lights are blinking on and off, just letting you know.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can get TAC back up here. And that looks good. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Okay, do you see it?
Yep.
All right, should I light up my drone?
Yeah, so your controller's on, you're plugged in there, and now you can turn on your drone.
All right.
Always good habit, get the controller on first, then turn your drone on. So
that way your drone won't fly away if somebody else has, or if there's any RF going on in your area. All right. Now that's nice. The Mini 3 has a purple light when it first comes up. That's beautiful. All right. Now I'm still getting a flashing green. Does that mean I'm not paired? Because I was.
Well, let's try. Let's open up UAS tool.
Oh, there it is. It just stopped blinking. All right, here we go.
So turn on UAS tool.
Right there. Okay.
All right. And let's hit the plus thing here. So some guys, sometimes the first time you start this is you may need, all right, so we need to select DJI 5.
Okay.
That's the protocol.
Plus, it comes up and it said none selected, but you had to click on the none selected in order to get everything else to come up.
Once you do this, it's going to be, it's going to set it there. So, all right, hit OK. Press open to switch ATAC on now. No, you can just hit not now.
Okay.
All right. And let's see what's going on here. All right.
I remember we had this issue last time.
Yeah, and this is a new. All right. So let's make sure let's open up let's open up a couple things we can try here. So first, let's launch the regular native DJI app. So we can just close ATAC.
Okay.
We're gonna do a couple things here.
Go ahead and do that. And now I got to find the native DJI. Let's see where that is.
Because I think I remember last time helping you out. Like my Mini 3, I'm on an RC1 and one controller. I'm not having an issue with, like, I don't have to launch the app first.
Well, that's the Echo V5, right?
Yeah, you can click on that real quick. We can make sure. Yeah, you're all.
There was something in here that I seem to remember we did.
Okay, right here. This is what you want.
Ah, bingo.
Hit OK. Now,
once you do that, you got to go out of ATAC. You got to go ahead and go into the ATAC V5. Make sure you choose that. And now,
yeah,
we can go back into ATAC.
Hit return to UAS tool. That'll launch ATAC.
Okay, I like that.
And you can turn off that. You can hit ignore. You have V5.
Yeah, it's asking for the old one. Okay, now go back into UAS tool.
Yep, and you can turn off your DTED map if you want.
Oh.
You can go back to your elevation manager.
Right. And then just, outline is off. There we go.
There you go.
UAS tool. So we just had to go into it, not click anything. All right. Press open to switch to ATAC Go now or not now to stay in UAS.
Not now. You can say don't ask again too.
Okay.
All right. And there you are. You are hooked up.
All right. Now, remember what I told you before we got on. It's not that big of a stretch to treat me as an idiot. So treat me as an idiot and tell me exactly what to press to get into UAS tools.
All right. So what you're seeing right here is like, all right, what protocol? So you're using DJI V5. You're hooked to a Mini 3. Signal strength to the aircraft, and then the battery percentage left. And you hit the play button. This is going to launch the UAS tool plugin. So
is that the battery percentage of the drone or the controller? Okay.
I believe that is the drone. Yep.
Oh, look at that. What we zoomed right in on. We got a Droneresponders challenge.
Shameless plug.
And we got a CTI challenge coin, which I'm going to ask you to talk about later. But okay, so here we are. And what shall I do to show off a little bit indoors?
I don't know if there's a bunch to show off indoors, but why don't you zoom in on the 2D map here on the left? So let's take a look at what that looks like.
So I'm looking for that. Is that on the bottom?
No, you're just zoom in on the 2D map on the left.
Oh,
zoom into your location. Yeah.
Got it.
So people can kind of get an understanding of what you're looking at here.
Right.
All right. So zoom in a little further, right in the drone. Let's go all the way in. All right. So that little blue icon there next. So your location is that little chevron there.
Right.
The home location of the UAS, and then the name of the UAS is UAS Gomer. It will take the home. You can override that if you want, and I've got tons of videos on the website that show that. And then you're seeing the field of view and the heading of the aircraft.
So the Gomer home is the controller. Is that correct?
Well, it's where you took off from.
Right.
So, yep. And right now you're indoors. The GPS is not perfect. And so on the right here, you can click the little hamburger menu inside there. Some of the things we can kind of show off. Video overlays. That's an important one if you're flying and you want to see other users in your video. The show AR, that's not going to show up here because we're not pointing to the ground.
Right.
But
each time you choose something, you got to go back in. That's a little annoying.
That should stay on there.
So
click on it. Hit show AR.
AR, and it just just went away. Each time I have to go back into video overlay.
What's there? There it is.
No, but I'm saying that each time I check a box, this menu goes away. Like
Oh.
I can't check.
There's no way to like do multiple select. I see what you're saying.
Exactly. So do we want to choose video map and dual sticks? Because I got those.
I would say not on video on map and not dual sticks. Nope, you don't need that. All right, so that's just showing one of the options. The next thing, lower right, you can click that box, and that'll take you into the full mode right here.
So that just kind of swaps. Well, it doesn't swap, but it's almost like picture in picture.
Well, it just gives you a much bigger visualization of your camera of flying. Right? And then you've got the 2D map on the lower right. Inside that 2D map, there's a little upper right inside there. You can swap back and forth from that view. So there's a little
upper left or upper right?
Upper right inside that 2D map.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit it. Not getting any love. Like it's like the circle, right?
Yeah, upper right. Looks like a little concentric. You can make that box bigger.
Oh, let's do that. Okay, let me get back.
That may be helpful.
Okay, and we just drag it.
Yeah.
No, not working on mine.
Maybe with the AirDroid, it's having some issues for some reason. Stopping you from.
I'm just going to do that and get back to that view.
Yeah, so that's really, I mean, this is the nuts and bolts of getting started. There's a good question here. Does ATAC gather the flight logs to be able to send to a CRM? In Australia, we have to keep flight logs. This is a great question. No, but I'm working on an effort right now to make this a reality. I don't want to speak beyond that, but at CivTac, we had some folks that have the ability to fund this and make this happen show up, and we had a good discussion. And this will be GOTS, so it's going to be a funded from the government effort. So super excited about this. This is one of from the public safety side, it is a gap, right? So you're going between maybe another solution provider that does all this sort of flight logs and fleet management, but they don't have their great situational awareness piece. And so maybe you have to bridge that over to ATAC in some janky way. And now the goal is to be able to take all that great stuff that's in these other fleet management solutions and bring it right into ATAC. And the idea is that this would be a tax server side plugin that the tax server would do all this. So that doesn't mean that we also couldn't have some sort of local output that could go into another solution. But really one of the goals is to have this in tax server. So you kind of have like one spot to go. You're flying in tax, you're connected to a tax server, you're flying. And then all this data and stuff is visualized on another page in tax server. You can run reports, have it automate reports, things like that. So I hope that answers your question from my friends down under.
And what does CRM mean in this context? To me, it's customer relationship management. It's a sales tool. But when you wrote send to
I'm doing some sort of resource management.
If you can tell us what CRM means, we would appreciate that in the context of your question.
Free resource management might be something, but that's usually when you're talking about like flying or cockpit resource management. But I'm assuming that's probably what he's talking about, some sort of, resource management.
Okay. So Mike says that UAS tool developers are aware that the DJI logs aren't being generated and are looking for storing flight log on the craft for use in your own fleet management process. Okay. Good deal. All right. So does this, I guess you can pull the screen down. Unless anybody has any questions, and go to our next topic. So if you have a question on anything, we're going to wait a moment. Oh, thank you, John. Crew resource management. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's like from the FAA side. That's
Yeah.
the term.
I can't wait to get into that a little bit more. I found myself a nice little ADS-B receiver for $40 on Amazon, and I'm connecting that to my little Edge Scout Mini. So they're all going to be together, and hopefully I should be able to get uncrewed and crewed information to some point. So I'm excited to test that tomorrow, actually. All right. So the next thing we wanted, I'm going to yank that off of there. Remove that. All right. So AJ, I had another question for you. I wanted to ask you what you can tell us about your role at CTI and what that looks like.
Sure. Came on to CTI a little over a year ago. And I'm kind of a jack of all trades there. I'm a classic end user. I'm not a developer. I'm dangerous on the command line. But really, my strong suits are kind of ideas, looking at the current public safety landscape and technology and seeing where we can elevate TAC and interject it and make a difference. Anywhere from, writing proposals for solutions for TAC, for government entities that are looking to do TAC as a service, training, and kind of those avenues. We do have some pretty unique, we have a unique plugin called, oh, I love that. Thanks to all the U.S. taxpayers. Other comment in there. Hey, we're in CTI. We're happy to take the U.S. tax dollars and really, and I say that in jest, but right, it's an awesome feeling to work for a company that does get to do this, right? To take these ideas and produce something that goes out to everybody else. Our founder, Dustin Hellwig, he's all about open government solutions. You pay for it once, we develop the capability, and then it can go out to everybody else. We do have some in-house commercial solutions that came through acquisitions that aren't like that, like SmartCam 3D. But not everybody might not need SmartCam 3D, on every EUD. I find that it is a very powerful plugin that a portion of your commanders definitely can have. And it could be that you're in maybe your mission, everybody needs it, but at least everybody should try it. And I hate this as a shameless plug for SmartCam 3D, but it is pretty powerful. And it's worth a kick in the tires to look at that. I think we opened a lot of eyes at CivTac on SmartCam 3D. We were using a big Clever Touch. But this is AJ in real life. So someone's at my front door. And so I'm going to bail for about 3 minutes and go answer the front door.
While you do that, I'm going to do a shameless plug for my company. So my company is called UAS Strategic, and we do CUAS and TAC solutions. My daughter, who I talk about often on my live streams because she's the apple of my eye that did not fall far from my tree. Her name is Sivan. She's on LinkedIn. You can hit her up there if you'd like to connect. She's in her last year at ASU Polytechnic, taking aeronautical management with a focus on drones. And so kind of an interesting time for her to be with me when I went to the conference in DC last week for CivTac 25. I flew her in from Arizona, and my eyesight isn't what it used to be. So she drove most of the way from the Scranton area where I live. Yeah, I moved from Scottsdale to Scranton. I always talk about that. Not sure why I did, but I did. And we drove down together to DC. So I'm going to share a few pictures real quick of our table and what we had there. So here's my daughter, Sivan, standing by the table. And as you could see, we were working with Droneresponders, so we had a QR code up here that folks could just take a snapshot of, and then, or excuse me, just shine their camera on it and go directly to the website and sign up. We were also doing Nine Hill, so we're a value-added retailer for Nine Hill. If you're looking for minis, for Bravos, we got them. We also have different antenna solutions and installation. We're helping people with maximizing their coverage with different types of antennas and different types of SOPs. And then also we had we had 3 screens going. We had an ATAC tablet right here showing a simulation of a prison. Let's show that a little bigger, but this is a prison in Tennessee, and it showed how a drone was ingressing and made an incursion, and where we saw the response to that and getting the notification both on the screen, to our phones, and to an email address. So basically, you can use a mini on an ATAC, but you're not limited to it. So you could have somebody in an offsite location in a small building in the middle of the forest that needs to have connectivity and be able to see airspace awareness, but doesn't necessarily use TAC. That's where the folks at Nine Hill came up with EdgeView, which is that application. So we also have 3 clients in Scranton that are using it. So I showed how those geofences work. And then back here, this is an actual beautiful ballistic whiteboard, ballistic protection. So there's 2 levels of it. You can get it in all pistol calibers and 7.62 by 3.9 AK rounds, or you can get the AR-15 version. The first one is 10 grand, the second one is 15 grand. And what we've done is we've gotten GoTac, the great people at GoTac, Matt DeSalto. He gave us a tracker that we have on top of this. So this board looks like a whiteboard. It sits in a classroom or in a hallway, and it has 2 handles in the back. This is just covering not to mar the black surface. It's a beautiful paint job on both sides, but they have a handle on this side and a handle on that side, and 2 to 3 officers can, kind of line up in the front row, and they could have rows behind them pushing towards a threat. Conversely, you could be pulling away from the threat, and we have usually 2 devices on it and 2 cameras. I just had everything on the front so people didn't have to walk around. And that shows you, the operator, what is in front of you or behind you, and obviously you're streaming that. And you also have ATAC on it as well. So the other beautiful thing is that, I don't know if you could see what looks like a little, my daughter, a little wedge in the back here. That allows you to pull the top part down, and this thing's 6'4". So what that could do is, if there are rooftop threats, you would actually be able to hide underneath it. Again, attached to TAC, everybody knowing where you are at all times. Stephen Crowder from Louderworth Crowder, after Charlie Kirk's assassination, went out to start doing his routines again at colleges, and he uses 2 of these, one on each side, and then a glass version so people can see him as he speaks through it. So I just think that's a really novel use case for TAC. Here's a great picture of the daughter with a great guy, Amos, right there. And then, of course, one of my favorite pictures is me with AJ and Kirk, who had a nice robotic dog there, and took a lot of time teaching my daughter all about that. So it was really a lot of fun at CivTAC. And I want to ask you, AJ, now that you're back, if you could tell us a little bit about the TAC Public Safety Nonprofit Organization and the meeting you had there, specifically on 108, which I think bears a lot of importance to everybody who flies as a first responder.
First, send me that picture. It's a great picture of you, me, and Kirk. You guys know Kirk Ferguson, former special operations for a long time, and now at Draper Labs doing great stuff. Hey, also, Zev, I sent you, I can't join the chat for some reason in the comments, but I sent you a private message. If you could put the link to the CTI Smart Cam, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, so we have this nonprofit, the TAC Public Safety nonprofit that we stood up last year. And Corey joked at our, it's partially true and kind of funny, but we've had this Slack channel that Dave Zader set up 2019. And if you're on free Slack, every 90 days, the messages get archived. And we thought, man, it would be nice to have free Slack. And hey, guess what? If you're a nonprofit, you can get this full version of Slack, and we can unlock all this, years and years of us talking and data. And they're like, well, we can probably do some cool stuff. And, we started talking with Ken Rabin about this event that he did the following year. And was like, well, what if you guys took over the event? Profits from the event kind of come back to the nonprofit. You can still hire me to kind of run it. And that's where it turned out this year. It was really great to have, Ken do that, the nonprofit, everybody wins. And so part of the proceeds that, what we want to do with it is, if that's development, if that's a lot of stuff, is also just, we want to do more evangelizing. So it's more things like, monthly talks on formats like this. If it's actual physical pop-up, hey, we're going to go to this region and have a 2-day, hands-on event that people can go to. Me and Mike Lecklider did the first one here in Southern California 2 months ago. CTI sponsored it. So CTI, made a donation to the nonprofit, and then we secured the spots and did all the kind of, coffee and donuts and stuff. So if someone wants to do something like that, it'd be a great way to make a donation to the nonprofit and really make an impact for TAC. You'll obviously get some branding, and then we get to kind of share all the great things about TAC. So one of the topics, so that's a little bit about the nonprofit and kind of why we exist. One of the topics at the event that I spoke on with Michelle Duquette, who is now going to be on our board as well.
Oh, made it official. That's great.
Yeah, we had a vacancy, and it made a whole hell lot of sense to bring her in. And one of the things we try to do on the board too is not be this echo chamber. We all love TAC on the board, and not that Michelle isn't loving TAC, but that's not really her. She's been in this kind of UAS National Airspace thing, and she's liking TAC, but we do need people to kind of put us in check and get us thinking about the bigger picture. So, we're trying to find, the other partners that are a little bit more zoomed out than us, that are really entrenched in TAC. So she fit perfect. But one of the topics that I put in for at this event was talking about beyond visual line of sight, flying with UAS tool. So quick story, when the first comment period came out, Mike Lecklider came into my office and was like, hey, AJ, here's all the talking points on what 108 is going to look like. I fed this through ChatGPT and saying, hey, give me the highlights. And he's like, looking at all this stuff, and I think UAS tool meets about a lot of this already, and with some small tweaks could really meet the need. And what they're talking about, kind of they're focusing on commercial systems. And so I went back to Mark Egan, and we've got this kind of group chat on Signal for years now with Mike and I and their team on development. I'm like, hey, look at this. What do you guys think? And Mark said, hey, I got to share with you some of the stuff we're working on. So part of this is the sort of detect and avoid strategy. So you want to fly uncrewed systems through, working with commercial crewed aircraft. What is the strategy for detect and avoid? Right now, UAS tool does not have that. And that there's a couple incidents that prompted the team to really look into this. First was the collision at Reagan Airport last year between, two crewed aircraft, right? We have a Black Hawk that flies right into the side of an aircraft on approach to Reagan, kills everybody. And then on the uncrewed side, during the Kerrville flooding, there's a lot of UAS operation. And days into the incident, we had an impact between a Texas DPS uncrewed system, small DJI into, I believe it was a Black Hawk, large, crewed aircraft. So that nothing came out of that, right? Other than like, oh my gosh, we did this, but thankfully no one was hurt. But it really got the UAS tool team to look at like, man, is there some things in here that could help with this? And so they started down this path. Mark showed me the things they're working on. I thought, man, this is great. This definitely feeds into what the FAA is envisioning for beyond visual line of sight. And for 107 pilots now that are in public safety, you can fly currently with a waiver, but you have to make notification. But this can't be used as like a normal standing practice. There has to be a justification. You have to be an emergency incident. We want this to just become the way we operate. That I could train this way, so on and so forth. So that was a discussion at CIFTAC, and I thought it was really good. Mark got to show the things that Booz Allen is working on in UAS tool now for this detect and void. We had Michelle's deep understanding of the National Airspace and FAA, and her long-term work in this space while she was at MITRE, and came out of it that we do think there's a path forward, and we're working on some strategy right now of what that may look like. For a path forward. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse because we got a bunch of ideas of what that may look like, but that is an effort right now that we are working on.
Right. I was really pleased when she showed up, and I heard that might be the case because everything that I've ever worked on with her, she brings a level of strategery, to quote our former president, George W., and thought, and out of the box thought, and she's able to articulate it in a manner that just makes sense.
I agree. She's definitely been a fresh breath of air for our group. And it was interesting when you first introduced me to her, and we kind of brought her to the TAC fold, didn't hear a lot from her. And I was like, hey, this kind of came up. And I said, hey, I'm going to be in DC for offsite it was July or August. And she's like, well, hey, Jay, I really just want to see TAC. Can you show me TAC? And I was like, well, sure. Well, why don't we actually show it to you in a UAS? So while I was out there, Mark and I and her, and then Matt Kobe, one of my cousins, I call cousins from QRC, Parsons acquired CTI back in July, and QRC is another acquisition company. So now me and Matt are cousins, and they have a really unique technology for RF sniffing that definitely people should check out, that you'll be able to put basically a module on your UAS and go out and sniff the environment, and you're looking for someone of this lost hiker, whatever, out in this remote environment. You can, maybe their phone's still on. Maybe they have a pacemaker. Maybe they have whatever, a watch. If it's emitting RF, it will start giving you hotspots, and then you can fly your drone in with a camera and go, oh, that's someone I'm looking for. Oh no, those are just two hikers that are hiking that, they're sleeping. Yeah, they're okay. They gave me the thumbs up. So anyway, but we all met up, and it was really great. We got Michelle flying in UAS tool.
Do you have that picture available that we could put up on the screen? Because I've never seen her look happier.
I don't have it handy, but I caught a picture of her, and she's smiling ear to ear, and really started to explain everything, and really explaining the why, like why this matters, why this is different than some other solutions out there. Not to take away from those solutions, but this has become, the folks that get into TAC and UAS tool are pretty pleased. And when they start comparing it to other things, say, man, if we, like the gentleman mentioned, or say gentleman, it could be someone else, could be a female, I can't tell by the, it says Mr. We'll consider that a guy, but why I have these other things, man. If I could just get the fleet management and UAS tool, man, I would have this perfect system. So I said most folks that are that get into UAS tool that are using other systems really see the value in the situational awareness side quickly.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. I found the picture before you did. So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing you to Michelle, her first time. I think she's flying a drone, right?
Yeah, she's flying, I think an M30, or it might be a Mavic 3, but yeah, she's flying in UAS tool. That's Mark Egan right there, and then Matt Kobe with me. I just want to answer a couple of questions. We only got a few minutes left, but you mentioned UAS remote control, which we didn't get to demo at CIFTAC, but also works really on the, Yeah, one of the cool things that we did do at CivTac was use something called the Clever Touch. So that is like a 65-inch Android. It's like having a 65-inch EUD touchscreen. And so we were using SmartCam on that and just all the attack functions. I thought it was a really cool use case for like an EOC or operations center to be able to use ATAC like that. And it's a testament to its processing power, because I never saw it crash. We were doing some pretty high level stuff with video, and the thing just kept running. So yeah, Clever Touch was pretty cool. So there's your shameless plug, and it was at our booth too. So it definitely was kind of neat, kind of eye catching for people to start using ATAC.
And to that point, if you go to my profile on LinkedIn and scroll through some of my last posts, you will see an All Things TAC post where I did about, I don't know, 45 minutes at CivTac walking to different vendors, and Mark is in that, and you'll actually see the device. And I think the biggest point about his device is that it's not a projection from a tablet. The actual screen can be touched, can be moved, can be enlarged. It's just a brilliant piece of kit that I'd love to have. So.
Oh yeah, some people were like, "Well, where's the device?" I'm like, "No, this is the device." So, hey, Mr. B, I'm just gonna call you Mr. B. Yeah, your trailing flights from Aerodome to Aerodome into shared airspace. So one of the things that we did bring up in the discussion was this shared airspace. As commercial airspace becomes more congested with unmanned traffic, that's on the commercial side. Yes, I have opinions about getting food delivered. Maybe if I don't know what I want the airspace to look like with a bunch of in and out flying around, I feel like just drive. But yeah, there's a space for elderly people that can't go out. This is a way to get them food or whatever. But I digress. That's my own personal opinion about what the airspace might sound like with a bunch of buzzing drones. But the point about, all right, now I do need to fly my drone in this tactical environment, and ATAC being a way to show where this environment is, to share across the commercial space, to keep that Amazon delivery from flying across my, flying across my mission space. They can go around. So this whole other idea that Michelle was bringing up, it's not just, beyond visual line of sight. It's just a communication way to talk back to the UTM, to keep us, within each other's zones.
So the UTM is really the traffic management system for uncrewed. We don't have ATC. We don't have anybody telling us how to fly, where to go, right?
Yep. So that sort of, and that was something that I wasn't thinking about, that Michelle was bringing, and it doesn't have to be ATAC doing it, but that we have a common way to do this. If you're flying in some other solution, but being able for all of us to kind of see the airspace together, and because we're under 400, so it's like this wild west out here, and I think you're going to see more and more, uncrewed aircraft, flying across airspace. We don't have it here yet, but I'm sure we'll see it one day with delivery drones and such.
Well, just think of the Jetsons when you saw different levels and different headings of a bunch of air vehicles or aircraft following each other with minimal distance in between, because they were all coordinating. It was like a coordinated autonomous thing. And I just think that that's where some of the criminal are going to take advantage of them. And to me, counter drone has to grow at the same pace as air taxis, as delivery, and so on, because somebody bad can muck up that entire row and send everything into havoc. So we got to be careful about how we proceed with that. I know there are a lot of people that are just pushing air taxis. I think before we do that, we have to know how we're going to defeat the bad guys when they start bringing bad things in.
Yep.
All right. Well, this was fun. AJ, thank you so much for your time. It was great doing this with you, and I was able to see some of the things that I had forgotten about what I need to do to get UAS tool up. So I appreciate that. I hope it was great for everybody else. If you have any questions, remember this is sponsored by Droneresponders, so you can go onto droneresponders.org, become a member for free, get into the TAC working group, and you'll get all this wholesome, nutritious goodness that you heard today. All right, so with that, I am going to say sayonara, and we are off.